On today's Man of the Apes, I will not talk politics. I will not talk politics. I will not talk politics.
Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape! Ready to visit the divine bomb. The only good human is a dead human! There is fire, there is smoke. Now fight like apes! The minute of the 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 apes!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. Talking politics while not talking politics. That was Sean. I'm Todd. Hi, Richard.
Hey, bitch.
What are you this morning?
I'm still confused by something that happens in this minute. That makes
I appreciate you bringing it back to Minute of the Apes.
okay. Sorry, there's just a thing that I don't go. You guys can help me with it, sure.
I'm going to try. I'm not sure I can because somehow between the minutes, I feel like I've all of a sudden got a hangover. I swear to God, that's why I asked Sean for Advil, and I'm like, I am just all of a sudden really dragging down, so maybe I need alcohol or something. I don't know, but it is like, man.
We got some warm Trulies on the counter in there.
I got some warm beer sitting right over there. I've got some pickle beer.
No. If some point during this I just start making you'll know what's going on.
What are you doing after this?
Hanging out with my kid who goes back to Colorado on Wednesday.
Oh, I thought she already left for some reason.
No, we leave Wednesday morning, moving her up there, and then I'll be back. By the way, we can't record next week. Pull back the curtain. I won't be back in Texas then. All right. Minute 25. Sean, tell us what's going on.
All right, we start minute 25 with Limbo telling the general's niece she can get anyone she likes, and ends with the general and his niece descending some stairs.
All right, here comes minute 25. Marky Mark, Tim Burton, do the Planet of the Apes.
Good luck, sweetheart.
That one.
Oh, isn't she pretty? Okay, I'll get that for you, sir. And I have a pretty new collar just for you. Compliments of the house. You stink of humans.
As minute 25, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, and wild humans in an ape city.
Visually, we get Thade watching as his niece picks a very cherub-like little-faced little girl out of the cage. He then jumps in, growls at everyone. The little girl jumps back. He sniffs into his face while Paul Giamatti basically says, I'll get her. We go in, we grab the cherub-faced girl, bring her out, handing it to Michael Clark Duncan, who then triumphantly puts her through the air. Weirdly, one of the things that I really thought was going to be your weird thing is he pats the little girl
On the head.
On the head. Michael Clark Duncan. I don't really understand the patting of the head, but then we go along. We offer a collar. Not sure who he's offering it to. Don't know if this is very S&M type friendly type thing. Then we have more of Thade using his sniffing, and they walk away. And Paul Giamatti sniffs his armpit. And then we get an establishing shot back of the city as they come into it. That's right, Gertie. That's kind of how we feel about it, too. So
She likes to chase airplanes.
oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
So Richard, while we're watching this, let us know what it was that bothered him. So tell everybody.
So Limbo was going along with this transaction and pointing out that this is a pretty choice you've made, a little girl, and all of a sudden, General just jumps in and like growls at him, and I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know what.
I had that same note of why I didn't understand.
What is wrong with this transaction? It'd be different if Limbo were trying to convince him Of another. Oh, have you
different
thought
ape.
about that one over there? That one's a lot. Oh, look, that one has better teeth over there.
I'm starting to think that maybe the general doesn't want Limbo to get too friendly with his niece, and so he's like, "Oh, that's a nice choice. That's a pretty one." It's like, no, fucking knock it off. Get the kid, and we're out of here.
Are we supposed to then think that Limbo is a predator? Like, is that what we're
Well,
supposed to assume?
I just think that the general doesn't like him because he hangs out with humans, doesn't just hunt humans, and
no
get
longer cuts a limb off.
Yeah.
It would just be a better
I
thing
mean,
if,
he's
if
telling me
Limbo
he stinks of humans at the end. So
if Limbo were saying something like, "Oh, wouldn't you like another one?" and then he and did
That would
and
make
it's
sense.
like give
That
it to
one.
her.
Yeah.
That would make more sense to me, because otherwise this aggression really just comes out of nowhere. I mean, if we wanted, Thade's already basically told us that he doesn't like Limbo. We could do a little bit more of that interspersed out, but the jumping all of a sudden at the first start of this minute makes no sense.
because it does also scare his niece as well.
Oh, and I do know what I find creepy about the female apes in this particular thing is that they all have very manicured eyebrows.
Yeah, very drawn on.
Became
almost,
very
yeah.
apparent when we saw the small girl. They all have sculpted hair, feminine hair, and they all have drawn on eyebrows.
Yeah.
And so it softens them even more, makes it look almost kind of fake.
So, just as a fun note,
Yes.
the gorilla kid that we had beating the chest earlier plays the niece also, and that is Deep Roy, who
Oh.
also was the Oompa Loompas
Loompa,
in
yeah.
Tim Burton's Willy Wonka
Yeah.
take.
Oh, okay. Well, this.
So it's actually it's a man.
man.
It's
All
a
right.
man, not a girl. I know that they have a great relationship. Wasn't he also in Ed Wood and something?
I think he was in Big Fish.
Maybe that's what it was. I
And
knew
he
he was in
might
it.
have been in Lord of the Rings as playing a double as
Oh,
one
really?
of the hobbits when they were
Okay.
the humans. I'm gonna look. That
I'll
up.
let you go on that. It's a weird moment in that once again it seems as though there's no clear line. You know, and as a side note, Richard and I are talking about another project type thing. It's those kind of things that the
Gertie.
characters of defining even the smallest element of why is that character, why is this group? We may never define them, but why do they think this way? And it feels like they didn't have those conversations of who is a human trader,
Oh,
who
he
are
was
the
in the
human
Never-Ending
wranglers.
Story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they don't have an internal logic that they all seem to understand, because I don't understand their vantage points. And then even, you know, I jumping ahead again when Paul Giamatti brings the collar out, I understand the collar is probably going to the human child. But the way he says it is, it's almost like, is he going to put it on the little girl?
Right.
You know, and is that where the creepoid thing is? That thinking just doesn't seem apparent.
And your point that Michael Clark Duncan pats the human child on the head.
It's
for
almost
some
like a
reason.
little
It goes,
sweet thing, like you would pat.
He's going to be a pet, I guess. Maybe that's what they were going for with that kind of interaction.
That
And
one
then
hit me.
why, And then why the general comes back up and sniffs at him
that
again.
was him in the Never-Ending Story.
Oh.
Even at the beginning, when you meet the rock eater
Yeah.
and the guy who wears the snail and the guy who rides a bat, that was him.
But yeah, it's just again this logic of Michael Clark Duncan at one point is saying, "Watch this one. He's feisty, though we've not seen any feistiness." But then he has reverence for children when he's supposed to kind of be along with Thade and more of the antagonistic towards human. But he's patting the child on the head. It doesn't. I don't understand who's what and what they think about them.
Maybe he has a soft spot for kids. Who knows?
Maybe.
There should have been. It's kind of mentioned a little bit in here, but not too much. There should have been a mother-daughter separation in the cage that would have added some more emotional impact.
Yeah,
to
it's
this.
no, my child. Yeah.
Something that would have done that. That might have.
Or you see Chris Christopherson like pulling at the bars saying,
Just something.
no.
I mean, it was cool to see Michael Clark Duncan pick her up like a rag doll.
No, I did like
and
that
set her
a
up. That was a
lot.
really great moment, right?
Well, he was such a big man to
Yeah.
begin with that's very easy for him to dwarf that small child.
and it was a great visual effect
It
to see
is.
that happen. Let you know that this is this kind of cruel transactional relationship that is now happening. She's no longer a human; she's a
pet.
A pet. But there was something about the transaction just was missing.
Well, I think that even another thing that's missing. So he pats her on the head. We then see the little niece get the collar in front of her face, and they just walk off with the little girl. That little girl, as someone who's raised a fucking little girl, would be shitting her pants,
Would be
screaming,
crying, something like that, not just going
now,
along. Yeah.
Now you want to give action to the niece? Have her go, "It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you." That kind of shit. That would work.
Well, they might not have done that because it's Deep Roy and he could not do a American female child accent.
When I'm telling you, that's not Deep Roy speaking, because when she
Right.
speaks, that's a little girl's overdubbed that because
Yeah.
it is very much a little girl's voice. So that's why I went and I thought, I wonder how old this woman was that played this, because I thought, is she a small person they've cast? That's when I saw Deep Roy. I was like, well, son of a bitch, that's overdubbed. But why not give these actors those moments? That's what I'm looking for, the weird juxtaposition of flipping the roles. It's okay, because go back to what Gertie do a little bit. Gertie is a baby. She
Right.
comes in here and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm treating her like that to make her feel calm. That little girl should be doing that to this little girl.
This part here where the general says the human rights faction is already nipping at my heels. That line actually probably should have come after he said, I promised my niece a pet for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I almost wished he had come in and said, I promised my pet a niece for her birthday.
My pet a niece.
My niece a pet for her birthday. And then Paul Giamatti says something along the lines of,
I'm all for free speech.
Is that still in favor? And then they could say the human rights factions are nipping at my heels, and then just something, to move to change that, so we know why this is not a good transaction or
Right.
acceptable transaction.
I also just thought of something too with the little girl.
Yeah.
You want to make it really say something? Hand her the collar.
And she puts
as,
it on?
As she begins putting it on, I'll take care of you. That's creepy. That's
Yeah.
a creepy thing.
Or
You're putting something.
you're mine now.
You're putting a child into bondage, and that really shows us that we take animals out of their natural environment and do this to them. That says something. This doesn't say shit. That little girl just walks away like, see ya. Hey, Dad, I'm gonna be good. It's awful.
And we know that Limbo is giving into the general's whim for taking this pet. We don't know why their relationship is bad. I would have liked to have had something to let me know. Maybe Limbo does not want to give him a pet or a child because he wants to make money off of it. If I could just have that little instance, I would
that's
know
great.
why they're at odds. I would know why they don't like each
Yeah,
other.
if he had simply said how much would she fetch on the open market, something even to that extent where it says I'm losing that.
Just a
That's-
couple
that's
lines,
a good
just
point.
A couple of inversions, couple lines, I think could have improved what's going on here. Otherwise, it's a weird Tim Burton scene with no impact.
I think that in some ways, how many things did we talk about in the sequels to the original where it was ham-fisted them putting a story together to get something out and make money? Yet there was a centralized narrative that world existed, and we at least understood. They worked
Right.
off of it. This one, I don't understand the world. I don't understand
Not
what's
yet.
going on, other than I catch and I glean a little bit here and there. It doesn't have the impact yet that it should. 25 minutes into it, it should be pretty clear who's on what side and what's going to happen so that we understand it. Within about 5 minutes, the story is going to somehow change so that we move ahead. That's how that works. I don't even understand what's going on right now, really. I do, but I don't.
I think on some level we followed Davidson maybe a little bit too much and should have seen some more of Helena Bonham Carter, or seen more of what the General and Michael Clark Duncan were doing. A little more. I could have seen a little more of their interactions before just following Leo kind of blindly, because he's been so passive this entire time.
Yeah, I as we say this, I'm curious why they didn't go back to Pierre Boulle's original novel for this.
Make them like in human suits
Yeah.
in an actual New York City driving cars. And
that seems more Tim Burton like, really to do that kind of
Well, maybe that's what he was trying to do at the end. Who knows?
maybe. God knows what he's trying to do at the end. Anyway, anybody got anything else?
No, I didn't have many notes for this minute.
That's another week in the books. We'll be back tomorrow with an in-between. I will ask everyone to make sure that you go out and follow us on social media. We do try to put things out there, and as these episodes are rolling out to you now, we'll do everything we can to keep you guys engaged. We appreciate it. I've seen so many people coming in and joining in the time that we took off. So that community, we greatly appreciate you. Please let your friends know about us. Share that link out. Let them know how they can find us. We appreciate each of you. For Richard and Sean, that's it. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Come in.